great gift again. I'm always like, oh, this is great. This helps me. This reminds me the great gifts that I'm so thankful for that Sharon
Wow.
has and
It's
takes care of.
incredible. It's incredible the great gifts that are there. So, welcome, welcome. Love to come together on this Diamond Mastermind. Love hearing your wins and victories. If you have any other win that you want to share real quick, we'll keep that going. If not, start sharing it in the chat. What are you seeing right now that's working? What are you noticing in your world that is flowing and bringing energy? Just shout it out or pop it in the chat. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you my Shenron Yoku hack right now. And this is very revealing. So I'm like, okay, if I can bring down my cortisol levels by breathing in Shinrin Yoku, what if I just put Shinrin Yoku in a bubble diffuser, and then I bring the bubble diffuser with me wherever I go. So I've been charging the bubble at night, and then I take it wherever I'm working, or if I'm by the kids, I'm taking it there, and I'm literally like breathing it in. I feel like I'm getting a hit of Shinrin Yoku like all the time. And then when I go in the car, I'm dropping it in the car. Every once in a while, it's just like sending it in, but that is how I need it right now. And it's like the puff of that bubble is just like I can't get enough. Hike in the home. Wow. In your pocket all day. So true. So true. And I love what you were saying earlier, Tana and James, just about like the new discoveries with the probiotic line and where that's taking people. I think we're going to uncover all new possibilities with that. I was talking to a leader in another market that got some for convention, and they feel like it's opened up a whole other level of their work because they're going deeper and getting to some of the stuff that they've been storing in their gut and not looking at, right? So just having massive breakthroughs all um all the way. And yes, we do, like mostly on calls, I make sure it's like right here so we can handle everything that's coming our way. One other educating our gratitude moment is just as I think about Brazil, and where I'm heading to Brazil next week, and they have been dealing with some unique challenges. They had someone that broke some rules, didn't reply to compliance. Compliance replied fast at like, okay, wait, she's breaking these rules. She's not talking to us. We're gonna put a pause on her account. And she kind of went postal. And she shared a bunch of stuff, right? And she's trying to just degrade doTERRA. And it's been a really good exercise for me to appreciate the foundation we have and how deep and wide that foundation is. And I love that when we are taking care of people, when we do our work to take care of people, then those situations get further and further away from a possibility, right? So we take care of people. We have good systems. I think we have the best of any market here in the US because the most has been invested in the US, and then these other markets are trying to catch up with where we're at. But I love how that just keeps us on solid ground. So even with this woman doing things like that, they had 20,000 enrollments, solid enrollments this month. And that is what is happening around the world. And even when those things that look negative come up, it actually raises people's awareness and their awareness of, right, how often do we see things come across the news and we're like, is that true or not, right? and then we look closer. And so love that we're having lots of those experiences around us. Allie's saying, I heard that doTERRA is concerned. Yeah. That we're moving away from essential oils and would like to hear more about those concerns and how to adjust. I haven't talked a lot about that, but we are working on just keeping that oil message our strength, right? And then those products that are supporting, those are supporting products. But just like Lindsay shared about classes and like we know LLV, #1 selling, right? So we keep doing what works. Victoria, I want to hear some of your wins and victories from India and Dubai really quick before we go into holiday stuff. How do you like me calling you out?
I know, I'm sorry, I'm trying to work on the side and was listening, but
You're totally fine.
India and Dubai, wow, those are like, it's kind of funny because we're kind of calling the UAE the India BOGO country or market because they're like, it's easy to like go here, go there, go here, go there. They are so vastly different. And it's been really interesting to have to just shift gears. India's been a little bit of a tough nut to crack, but I think we're getting there. It's masses of people, but there seems to be like a band of people that are our people that we're trying to get. A little bit more, I want to say this in the nicest way, but maybe a little bit more Western educated, a little bit more business minded, because there's like masses of people that are just kind of going through the motion of life. They're happy, they're wonderful, they're lovely, but they're a little bit less receptive. So I think we spent a long time going through the people, and then we have finally found the people. So, and that's been interesting. And they have a lot of opportunities there. So they're very distractible. So we've been learning to like having to keep them busy and focused a lot. So, and then you go over to Dubai, and those are like my people. Like, these are my people. It's 95% expatriates. And I find that expatriates are just like pre-vetted, right? These are people who are risk takers. They've left their home countries. They have some sort of either education or expertise that has allowed them to move to Dubai to build lives there. So they're adventurous, they're entrepreneurial, they're risk takers, they're awesome. And it's 5% locals. It's only 5% Emiratis. So there's more wealth there. So if you guys are thinking about building internationally, I would like, Dubai's fun. It's clean. It's I'm calling it Las Vegas without the sin.
Wow.
I'm sure the sin is there, but it's really hidden and underground. I don't know. I didn't see it. It's just like a pop-up perfect city in a sandbox, so so Dubai's been a little bit more receptive to the business and to the opportunity and the oils. But both markets are great opportunities. They're really, really great. So it's so much fun to be back to like it's a little bit of a new normal, but being able to get on a plane and go somewhere and have an event and fill a room with people. And honestly, the Dubai soft launch had as many people as the India convention.
Wow.
Was very interesting. I think we had, about plus or minus 800 at each thing. So it was fun. It was exciting. It was adventurous. It was mind bending.
Wow.
And I stayed in an Airbnb that had no hot water. They kept saying they were fixing it. And I was like, this is what we do to get to where we want to go. Are you willing to take a cold shower in India for 5 days straight to get to where you want to go?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. I love that you experienced all that. And you've got leaders experiencing success in India.
Yeah.
But I
But you know
love,
what? It's been patience, right?
yeah.
I think if there's the one thing I'm taking away from this is just like, don't give up. Like if one thing, just pivot. If this isn't working, it doesn't mean the whole market doesn't work. It just means that in that market's not working. So
Mhm.
try something else.
I love that message of pivot. I think it still rings absolutely true. I was just taking someone, let me share back to the, is that the wrong? I was taking somebody back to, maybe it's this one. Nope. Okay, just remember, I took people back to this YouTube, the YouTube recordings of that global rank retreat have been so useful to me, and especially that beginning thinking, right? Of like, we pivot. This is who we are. We pivot to meet the people because we care and we want to make a difference. And we continue to recruit. Thanks so
And by
much.
the way, those founders has both started in India and Dubai. So if you know anybody, those runs have started.
Yeah.
And that's life changing. As those of you who just wrapped up the 2.0 US founders, if you're feeling like, oh, that's over, it's just starting in other markets. So
Yeah. I love that. What are the requirements, real quick?
gold
Okay.
for both of them. And there's going to be 40 positions in India and 15 positions in Dubai. And India just launched this morning they're doing almost like a diamond club, but it's a founders club. So, and it's quite significant where they're flying the people who are qualifying, they're flying them to Mumbai every month for a weekend for just a working weekend strategy. Let's do this kind of
Wow.
week, and lots of, incentives and things like that. So think Diamond Club, but Founders Club for India. They haven't done anything like that for Dubai yet, but if you know anybody in India, reach out to either Russell Butters or Andrew Barris, and it's going to be a huge market now that we're figuring it out.
Well, yeah, and especially if you know some of the more, kind of affluent people who are connected, I know
How do we
that's
get to the unlisted?
great way to, get that kind of traction that you might be looking for that some people haven't had in that market, and or ending up with individuals that maybe are not the kind of people you want to work with in that market, that kind of sniff out some of these new things coming into the market, right? And my experience so far, which I'm not a huge player there, but I have a lot of team working through different things, and they've pulled me in, and it's so interesting to work with people who are really already kind of lined up with that mission vision that is so synonymous with doTERRA in other ventures, and they themselves may not take up the business as much as they are super loving the model of it, and they're willing to use their connections to hook you into people who could benefit from it. So
yeah. And I would say, a lot of people are like, I don't know anybody in India. Well, you should be eating a lot of Indian food right now locally, getting to know the people who work there. But I have a person on my team who knew nobody, and he just really specifically started reaching out on Instagram. And he was doing, his numbers were really 50 DMs 5 days a week. And, that sounds like, oh my gosh, but really that's copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And just finding, India wellness, India fitness, India holistic, India, whatever. And his numbers were, he was getting 5 phone calls, I think, a month out of that. So it seems like it was a lot of throwing it out there to get 5, but out of the 5, he would enroll 1 or 2. And now he's doing really well. And he's spending a significant part of his life there now, working with those few people that And one of his builders was somebody he met in Vietnam that's European that lived in India that knew somebody, I mean, so it's a circuitous route that ask everybody who they know.
That they may be a window, right?
Yep.
Or a door to someone else.
Yeah.
Love it. Super, super useful convo. Thank you for sharing. Let's move to the new products and what you're doing to share the holiday pieces. This is a newsletter. I love what Laura's gal puts together on on Enroll Pro. And this is the newsletter that they prep and that you can send out from Enroll Pro. And it has a good angle on things, right? So everything.
Natalie, can I share a little fun thing
Yep.
I've been doing? Because I'm a huge fan of Enroll Pro. I think if you're not using it, you're crazy. And she doesn't pay me to say that.
Yep.
But this morning I got up and I was able to send out to all the 4 markets that she covers, all my emails. But you guys, take the little blurb that they write, because it's kind of standard, and run it through Chat GPT. In whatever voice you have created your Chat GPT to be, right? So just so you know, in Chat GPT, it's free, and you can go in and you can tell it, I'm a holistic health coach. I have a dog named Aspen. I'm an educated mom. So whatever your avatar personality is. So when I run things through Chat GPT, I have asked the voice to be from a mom who's smart, right? So you could have it be from a business owner or from a practitioner or whatever. And you can take those little blurbs, run it through, and it comes out more in your voice. And I always say, please add emojis. And it adds, like it was adding, holiday emojis to this. And then you just copy and paste it. It makes it much more personable, and it takes like less than 2 minutes. And you can really customize these emails. And I think I sent out 600 emails this morning in 30 minutes.
And you are using that, you've created like your persona, and then you can just ask for stuff from that because it's going to keep that voice.
Yes. So it starts, you can customize it. Make sure you go into settings and customize it. And it's so funny because every once in a while it'll say, me and my dog Aspen.
Yeah.
And I didn't even say to do that, but it just makes these more personal.
Yep.
And when you're in Enroll Pro, you guys do it right. Like I have tags for India, tags for UAE, tags for, so I just have to hit Europe, Australia, USA, builders, whatever. And I just hit the tag and send it out. So when you get it done, when you get Enroll Pro done right, and then you get your GPT to know your personality, it gets really fun. And I just say, rewrite this in my voice with emojis. And I just copy and paste it in, and it rewrites it. And it's so fast.
I love that. And I've been using that lately for marketing copy, because usually it takes me a while to come up with something, but I'll just be like, hey, I'm holding this event with this, da da da, and it's going to this audience. Give me the marketing copy, and it creates it with emojis and everything else. And you can use the free version. Just search for Chat GPT and you'll be right there. But
and you can go in and you can say, write 30 days of Instagram posts on doTERRA essential oils. And it'll write 30 Instagram posts for you. You got to come up with the images, but the content's written. I mean,
it's so helpful. And remember that it's great with translation. If you're dealing with some leader in another country, like the translation in Chat GPT over Google Translate is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ali, And Lindsay, let's just address this real quick, and because we have our guest coming in like 7 minutes to give us tax tips for end of year, but it doesn't create a link so that you can send via text. This is an email that we're sending out, but I love that whether you're using Enroll Pro or like OneDrop has pre-created stuff. If you are sending it to your enrollments or you have a smaller team, then you have enough, you can send out this email automatically and you can personalize it and make it your own. I love some of the stuff that she's thought through. So this is an app that Laura Jacobs created, and she has her wellness advocate mind behind creating the things and bridging the gaps. So just this basic thing for me was like, oh my gosh, I've got to take this November LRP checklist and get that out to my people, even if I'm not getting it out in an email format, right? So I love Allie. Yeah, I agree what you're saying. Like open rates are not amazing on emails, right? So we've taken most of our stuff to text and we're reaching people via text, but you could reach someone with this little thing and then a link to the holiday specials, right? So just start getting some of that concept again.
Enroll Pro does texting for US and Canada, I think. It doesn't do international, but if you want to text, you can do
Text
that
the
with Enroll
same.
Pro.
Yep, text all of that. Look at how cool that is, right? It's showing you, illustrating the new MetaPower Assist and what you're getting on it and how you're saving $18.50. Like that's just not advertised other places because people aren't thinking about that, right? And then, you know, we have some really good on our oils. It's really good. It's straight across PV. When there's a box or other things included, you'll see a little PV gap. But the more oils and the more, you know, the closer you get to the oil itself and the product, and they're having to pay less for an outside manufacturer, then we get that better PV swing. So these are some of the really great PV swings. Then you see the new goodness, some of the things that we're just keeping low so customers will buy diffusing garland to use their oils on, but we're not charging $24 for diffusing garland to get some PV out of it, right? They're just it's good to take care of that. Allie, do you want to clarify anything else? Feel free.
Okay, so what I was saying on, so Roxanne Ray was teaching us that emails that have graphics in them, they tend to get thrown to spam filters, is what Roxanne Ray was teaching on us on our marketing call today. So that's what I was asking about, because when I've looked at my Enroll Pro open rate, it will say 100%. And I know, and I'll have just sent the email. I'm like, it has not been opened by every single person, right? So those stats I haven't found to be reliable. And that's why I'm wondering how to know what is the right thing to do. Because I too have been using Enroll Pro for years, but you're muted.
I'm just asking Andy if there's other insights on email stats.
Whatever tool you're using, like if you use MailChimp, which is the most popular, they give you those stats.
So MailChimp is reliable, but like if you've been sent something out from Gmail, could you see no stats? Okay, so good insights, and be aware of that. And you could, again, from Enroll Pro, you could send texts out with portions of this if you want to. You could seed with the biggest parts, but I love how she broke it down into Bath and Beauty, which some amazing stuff, right? And then here we've got the Serenity Bedtime Kit coming. Matt and Shantae went to a big Eric Worre event, and their biggest takeaway and what they're creating right now is a sleep, not a study, but a sleep challenge. and a sleep challenge, and they're doing a vitality challenge. And they're doing that to just bring people in, and they've got to pay for the challenge. They pay for their product, right? Their sleep kit is part of that, and they're enrolling at the same time. And then through the process and through the education, they're just sending texts to help people along on the challenge and shift their sleep. And then they're giving a prize to the people that got the best results in that group. And then they're helping people with further education, just plugging people into that so that those people are becoming longtime customers, right? So any other insights? We want to hear from you. What else are you doing with the holiday products and probiotic that we've got now to move things in November? Oh, cool. Awesome. Lindsay, I love what you're doing. Tell us more about that really quick. And
So we're always looking at everything as on-ramp, like how do you on-ramp people into doTERRA? And of course, workshops are a huge pillar for us, but we know that not everybody, is going to do that. So with the launch of new products in September, we were like, do we go the microbiome route first, or do we go the sleep route first? And we decided to do a sleep route first because of the holidays. So essentially what we did is we used October to do sleep classes as continuing ed. And so we have our course, always our Tuesday night regular class, but then we offered 3 other sleep classes that people could join if in an area of sleep. We put it in our wellness community, which includes all of our customers. And we just started with a poll that said, who here has a sleep issue? And so we kept it really broad so that we could kind of funnel in as many people with any kind of sleep issue as possible. And then based on that poll, our wellness advocates could follow up with their customers and say, hey, we're offering some sleep classes this month that we think could be very supportive for you and what you're offering. And in those sleep classes, then we funnel people to our 60-day sleep overhaul challenge, which we decided to run from November 1st to December 31st, because we wanted to give people the gift of sleep for the holidays. And so that the marketing behind that was truly, we want you to be rested for the holidays. What better way to do that than to support your body now, November and December. What we did is we asked that any advocate who had customers join the sleep overhaul challenge, that at the end, as long as they are to complete a survey at the end of every week. So we have any customer who's in this challenge, there's a survey at the beginning of every week. It's pretty simple. But the first one actually helps us do some metrics. So the first one includes a couple of extra questions, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your sleep now? So that we can, at the end of the sleep challenge, ask that question again. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your sleep now after they've taken the sleep system for 8 weeks? It was a requirement that they buy the sleep system, of course. And then on our advocate side of things, it was a requirement that any advocate who had customers participating, as long as they completed the whole 8-week challenge and they submitted their survey every single week, that the gift at the end would be the Serenity linen spray, as well as the fact that our customers would get the gift of sleep over the holidays. So that's really how we positioned it. We saw a great response. We've on-ramped quite a few people who we've offered workshops to before and other options, but sleep was what spoke to them. So first quarter of this next year, we'll look at how do we on-ramp people into doTERRA through microbiome education and gut health.
I love that. Can you see all the marketing around it? Like turn up your sleep over the holidays, turn up your sleep, up level your sleep. And that gift at the end makes it so that it's less of a raffle-y thing and more of a giving back to everyone. Wow.
We did like the Serenity linen spray because we felt like it was a price point that our advocates could do, because they're $7.50 each. And we really felt like, you know, there's buy-in from you, advocate, and there's also buy-in from your customer because you're enrolling people. So there was skin in the game that way for both. And it also really ensures that we have our advocates supporting their customers along these 8 weeks as well.
I love that. Getting some skin in the game so things go right. Right? Love it. And I encourage you, Lindsay, I love that you're doing these things. If you feel the need to collab, guys, there's so much more we can do as we collaborate together. So take advantage of the WhatsApp group to say, hey, I'm doing this. Anybody else want to collaborate? Or if you're feeling like, oh, I want to be doing more, and yet I don't see the time or space, maybe that's when collaboration comes into play, right? It is so powerful and can turn up the good that you're doing. And whether you're collaborating with your leaders and they're stepping up to the plate, or you need bigger minds and you want to collaborate with Sideline, draw it in. Sweet. Throw
Be a
anything.
special guest.
Yeah, anything else on holiday products, throw it in the side and we'll keep chatting about that. But we have always found so much value in, sometimes we take care of everybody else and we don't take care of our own world. And so we wanted to invite on a special guest with some tax tips for this end of year so that you're planning and maximizing all of this. James, take it away.
So a few years ago, I, after having lots of interesting experiences with tax professionals that were not always what I wanted to have, I went on a quest and I began to interview firms and or tax professionals based off a book I read called Tax-Free Wealth. And that led me to who I've been using since probably 2012 or so. I landed on the kind of the doorstep, as it were, of an individual as I interviewed several different people, some of them recommended by even doTERRA owners and or some of the higher earning people in doTERRA. But what I did was I took the Tax-Free Wealth, I made a list of questions and I began to interview people. And it led me to a company called Solence. And they are right now based in Draper, but are building a building right around the corner from doTERRA at the moment. When I interviewed a gentleman named Chris at this firm, Chris Anderson, man, he checked all my boxes. I was asking him tough questions. There were a couple things that stood out. One was he had an answer, and I could tell he'd at least been exposed to the tax-free wealth mindset in some way, because he was answering the questions in line with what I wanted to see. Also, he stayed very even and level and professional the whole time. And I didn't actually see that in some of my other interviews. The other thing was, like, he was already working with other high-end network professionals, as well as, kind of your regular business world professionals. And he allowed me to interview some of those folks, which I did. And so I jumped on board with them, and it has been the best financial choice they do my bookkeeping, they do all my tax stuff, tax strategy, which is, if you don't have tax strategy, then you might as well just do your own taxes, right? Because that's about as good as it's going to be, right? So tax strategy. And then also they've helped me with linking investments to how that can help in my tax world as well. So all of my investments now are through that lens of tax strategy and taxes and whatnot. So they do all of that for me. I've tried to outsource some of those pieces before. I've tried to look at and honestly, I've even evaluated other tax professionals as I go along, just to make sure I'm still got the right group that I'm with. And always they come through for the win. And I've seen people go out and use other tax professionals and come back to Solence. So I give you that preface just so you know why this professional is on the call. I know the Goddards, I brought them into this world as well, and I've had a good experience. And so Kathy, who's with us, is actually Chris's mom and a legend. And really
It
why,
says she taught him everything he knows. So I'm
right,
like,
exactly,
we got
like
the
every
grand
mother
poobah
should,
right
right?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because she, I know we also call her like, if you have an audit, she's like the IRS whisperer, right? She knows how to deal with, even Chris says, man, it's magical what she's able to do in that realm. So in the unfortunate event, or fortunate, however you want to look at it, that you get an audit, right? They also have your back there. And what I love, because I one of the reasons I got led to these guys was because at one point I did get an audit, and the accountant skipped town and I had to deal with it all myself. And yeah, and it was rough. And Chris said to me, oh no, if you ever get an audit, which I never have since, but if you ever get one, we're dealing with the IRS, not you, right? So anyway, Kathy, thank you for joining us. And she has a wealth of experience, I think 30, 40 years, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong. And so she knows what she's talking about.
Kathy, take it away. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I hope I can live up to the hype. Am I supposed to, do I need to press some button? I'm not good at Zoom.
Nope, you're good. We can
Am I-
see you.
Can you
and
see me
just
okay?
tell
All
us.
right.
Just do your thing.
So I have been in the business for 43 years. Chris joined me in 2002, and he's amazing. I taught him everything he knows, and he's taught me a lot of things I didn't know. So we're a really good team. So today, I think one of the things that you guys maybe should think about is year-end planning. Now's the time to see where you're at and see what you can do before the end of the year to be able to minimize your tax liability. We at Solence believe that money is better spent in your pocket than in the government's. We're not a big fan of how they spend our money, and I don't know anyone who is. And so it's important to find the different strategies that you can use to minimize that and keep as much money in your own pocket as you can. And so we have some strategies that, we have different levels of strategies. We have strategies that work for everybody. For those of you that are maybe a little bit higher earners, we have some strategies that as you move up the ladder, or you're probably already there. I don't know each of your stories, but
Yeah, we're all at different places. So you're just right.
Okay. So we have different strategies as they go, but Chris mentioned that he thought maybe that you would like to know just some of the basic strategies that you can start implementing before the end of the year.
Yes.
So that you can start thinking about that. We do year-end planning for people where we look at where you're at and then make suggestions. One of the things that we, if you have children, you can pay your children to do things for you, okay? And I am very familiar with the doTERRA world, and most of you who have children, you've got them doing things for you. You have them filling sample bottles or shipping things off or cleaning your office. There's lots of things that they can do for you. You've got them in your advertising. If you've got a website, a lot of you have do podcasts and YouTube videos and things where you utilize your children. And so you can pay them to do that. And the advantage of doing that is that you're going to pay for things for your children. You're going to pay for their piano lessons. You're going to pay for their soccer. You're going to pay for that electronic device that they have to have, and all those different things that you already buy for your children. By paying them to do that, you are now deducting those things that you're already going to pay for anyway and making it a tax deduction. So that's a really good way to utilize your children and still deduct things that you're already going to pay for. There's also ways you can, some people like to put money into like a college fund or that kind of thing. There's ways we can do that. And so we have some important strategies and ways of doing that to make it so that it all works out right. They have to actually do something, and you have to pay them some ways, either giving them something that they earned or paying for something, but it's important. And so if you're just interested in that, we can give you a lot more details on that.
Kathy, just tell us some basics, right? Because we'll have all kinds of people listening to this. Of
Okay,
here in the US, the limit per child under 18
so for
is
2023 is actually $13,850.
so instead of you being taxed on 13,850 at whatever level you're at,
Mhm.
20 to 33 or whatever tax level you're at, you could send. So what we have done is create these savings accounts for our kids. And instead of giving them money and letting them have access to it, we're putting in that savings account. And when we furnished our new home for their room, we bought beds from that and for that child,
They
right?
pay for their own.
Yep, yep.
So
Um,
I just did I've been doing year-end reviews, started that, and I just did one for a gentleman. And he has 4 children, and in his particular tax bracket, he would have saved, if he did this for all 4 children, he would have saved about $16,000 in taxes. Just as an example of the potential that you can do. But yeah, that's great. You just be creative about it.
Yep. And the other thing we've done is, like, say you've told your kids, hey, we're going to pay for your college if you get these kind of grades or
Mhm,
Then you have a little stockpile
That's right.
there to start paying tuition from that wasn't
It's
taxed.
tax-free money,
Tax-free
basically
money.
tax-free money. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean, we'll
it's, go
we'll
ahead.
sometimes use that money to pay them to put inventory away, to label things. We'll use it like to pay them, like, hey, when we go to an event, we need someone to be with the younger children. We'll pay you out of that. And or, hey, if you market this to your friends or wear a shirt to a party or tell the parents of your friends how you use natural products, all of those things can come into play there. And I love that it's increased for 2023. I think it used to be like 12 something, right?
Yeah, that was a few years ago, and it's been slowly going up, but it has gone up to that amount for this amount. And that's the thing is in reality, in your type of business, you're doing that anyway. You're having them help you. You're having them wear that t-shirt. You have them, and we go to events, you might be having them hand out samples, depending on their age, of course. But it's just a lot of options to pay them to do things for you, and anything that just frees up, it could free up thousands of dollars for you on your taxes. So that's my first suggestion. We have another one. It's technically called the Augusta Rule. We call it rent swap. Basically what it is the Augusta Rule is that you can rent your personal residence out for 14 days, and you don't have to claim that as income. So that's what this strategy is based on. So basically what rent swap is that, let's say you and I did it. Okay, I have a business, you have a business. My business would rent your house out for 14 days. We would not take possession of the house, by the way. Okay, some people get worried about that. It's all on paper and money. We would rent it, say, for $1,500 a day. There's $21,000. Okay, my company would pay you personally, and then your company would do the same to my house. So there's a $21,000 deduction, because you're going to get that money back, because I'm paying you, you're paying me. It doesn't cost you anything. Now you've got a $21,000 deduction. And depending on your tax bracket, again, it can save you thousands of dollars on that. And if you Google Augusta Rule, you'll find it. Some people go, that can't possibly be right, but it's a real rule.
Kathy, let me just talk out one scenario on that. So guys, just imagine, so we're using our event center for Experience doTERRA or Reclaim Your Health, right? And for a lot of that, like, there's no tax benefit, right? It's just like, oh, you could write off part of the house, right?
Mhm.
But if my business, Seedstone, pays Andy and Natalie for that rental of the house, I can take those money for the 14 days and what we would charge for those 14 days and bring that into my personal pocket without any taxes on it. So that's just one way, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be with another person. It can be from your business to your personal, right?
Well, and
So no,
and
the
I have-
business has to pay the personal.
Yeah.
So the business pays the personal. If you took it out of your business, you can put it back in. But that's the key. The business has, because it's a personal deduction, not a business, you know, it's a business deduction, but the saving of the income is on our personal side. So yeah.
And I
If
do-
you
I
decide
do
to do it, we provide you with a rental agreement and a flow chart. So you can see exactly how
Yeah,
it needs to go.
it's super easy. And what I love about that is that end of year flow chart, that all of the things that apply to your situation, you have a graphic and diagram and instruction with it. And like this rent swap, I do this with one of my frontline diamonds and it works sweet. I send them the money, they take that money and then they send it back to me. And they are, you know, a lot of these people are in and out of our house, staying at our house, doing things at our house anyway. I feel great about it.
Awesome.
Okay, one of the things I like to touch on is travel expense. Especially this time of year, people do a lot of traveling, you know, for the holidays and things. And if you plan ahead, you can usually take some or all of your trip, okay? Because of the kind of business you're in, you will be talking to people about doTERRA and the products everywhere you go, okay? Even when you go to your parents' house or your aunt and uncle's house, wherever you go, you're going to be talking about doTERRA. And so plan ahead, plan to visit people, plan to talk to people, make some notes when you go, show that it was a business trip. It was a business trip. And you happen to see your Aunt Susie while you were there, you know. But this is a good time to start thinking about, what have you been doing? Have you been traveling? It's something you should be thinking about all year round. But if you haven't- Sorry, I'm not hearing that. Something.
Hey, we got it handled, no problem.
Okay, good. So that's a strategy that people don't think about. It's something they should be doing all year round. But if you have been traveling, start thinking about, what did I do while I was gone? Who did I talk to? What did I do? Did I take people's samples? Did I recommend that they do certain things for certain, like you were talking about the sleep thing, which I think is an absolutely brilliant thing. I need to do that myself. But yeah, so you know, the things that you've done, and think about those things as you went along. Those are some things that now that it's getting towards the end of the year, we should be thinking about. Also, if there's something you've been wanting to purchase, let's say you feel like you need a new vehicle for your business, or you need some equipment of some sort, a new computer, you know, the rule is don't spend $1 to save a quarter. However, if you want to buy it anyway, it's a good time to decide, should I do it before the end of the year, or is it going to benefit me more in January? So that's one reason we do these year-end reviews, is because then you can look at what's going on and say, you know, I really need a new vehicle for my business. I've made a lot this year. I need the deduction this year. Let's do it, you know, or, well, maybe they'll be better next year. So anything you're going to purchase in the next, you know, few months, this is a good time to decide whether it's going to be a good fit for 2023 or to save it for 2024. We also have, for those of you who are a little bit higher earners, we have a couple of other strategies that can help. We have it's a charity strategy where there's a rule that if you buy something.
Kathy, before you go to that
Yeah.
one, can you tell us, like, it really helped me on the business expenses to be like, okay, if I'm at this percentage and something costs $1,000, then if I buy it before the end of the year, it's like I'm getting it for
Oh, okay.
$700. So can you just give us a typical thing to think about so that we can be
Okay.
seeing that properly?
Oops. Let me put this around.
Maybe most people that are making
So
most
let's say,
people
okay, let's say
on
you
the
bought
call
a,
are making over 100
yeah.
100 a year at least.
So let's say you wanted to buy a vehicle for $40,000. Okay. Let's say you're in about a 30% tax bracket between your federal and your state. That's very common. That means you would be getting, whoops, that $40,000 vehicle for closer to $28,000. Is that what?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's where you get the savings. I always look at it on either side. How much would you save? So that's a good way of showing that. Okay.
That's a great illustration. And
Now that would be, and you can take that all in 1 year if you want. So you can take it all in 1 year, or you can spread it out over 5 years. But again, that's where we look at it and see what's going to benefit you the most.
and to buy a vehicle for your business, what are the requirements?
So it needs to be a vehicle that you use primarily for business. Okay. You should have another vehicle to take your kids to school and back and do your grocery shopping and whatever else you know, all the running around that you do as a parent. So it needs to be something that you can prove that you use for business. Okay, so in your case, a lot of times, maybe while you take the kids to school, you're also picking up some products somewhere or taking something to somebody. So
Talking to somebody about
talking,
doTERRA,
yeah,
right?
you're dropping the kids off to school and talking to the lady in the next car over. I don't know, whatever you're doing. So, but it has to be primarily for business. And if you, so there's some apps that you can get for your phone. One's called Mile IQ. And what happens is it tracks everything you do for business or personal. And so that's a good one to get, because at the end of the day, you can look at it. Where did you go? Oh yeah, business. Oops, that was personal. Business. And that's a really good way to be able to show, if you had to, because I'm the audit lady. If you had to show, that would be a great way to show that that's what you used it for. Okay. You don't
Love
have
that.
a,
Because you can have your business be paying you for miles instead of you getting taxed by, okay, your business is paying you for your monthly check or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
so that you're getting money to spend in your personal life and pay. You could have, if you're tracking those miles in that app, your business can pay you, how, is it 32.5? I don't even know where.
well, so there's two ways of tracking mileage. Okay. You can either take the car, depreciate it, and take all the expenses. So the fuel, the insurance, the registration, the repairs, the maintenance, all of that. Or you can take mileage. Okay. For 2023, it's 62.5 cents a mile, but then you wouldn't be able to deduct that vehicle when you purchase it. Okay. So the first year, if you're not sure, what I do is I look at it both ways. Let's see which way is going to benefit you the most, because once you start it one way, you have to continue it that way. Okay. So at this point, you know, we're talking about purchasing a vehicle. In that case, you would be keeping track of all your expenses. If you have a vehicle that you only use part for business, like you have one vehicle and you use it for everything, that's when that app comes in really helpful, because then you can take the mileage, and I believe it's 62.5 cents a mile for 2023. And you can take it, that amount of money for each mile off of your taxes. But it is important to track that, because the IRS, that is one thing they will question. How do you know that was for 100% business? Oh, look here, this is how much I use it for business. So it's
Yeah.
really important to do that.
We have, you know, my wife has a business car and I have a business car, and mine is a truck. So it weighs over a certain amount, so I can get a higher deduction for that. And then those two cars, I mean, primarily everything we do, like Roxanne will take the kids to school and at the same time meet with another mom there dropping off kids and give samples and talk about whatever. A lot of times she's even educating the kids on the products as they're driving to school. I mean, it's just part of the rhythm of what we do. And most all of our errands and things are related in some way because we have an assistant. Well, not everyone's going to have this, but we have an assistant who does like the shopping and some of the stuff that, you know, is whatever, right? And so most every time we go anywhere, but we have other cars that sit there. And a lot of times if we just know we're doing something personal, that's all it's going to be. We jump in that car. But but the business car, and we have so many drivers in our house, it makes sense for us to have multiple cars. It may not make sense that for you, but that way I don't have to keep as close track of, you know, all the little details, because I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to do it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so having that one car that's for each of us, that's that, and knowing primarily that every time we leave the house, there's going to be a business reason, even if we stop and go through the car wash or grab something from the store on the way back from that, the primary reason was for business.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, very good. Any other questions about that?
So just to clarify one last thing. So if you were buying like a printer or something for your office that was $1,000 and you're in a cumulative 30% tax bracket, it will be as if you're paying $700.
Right.
So, and Kathy, which app were you saying on the?
It's called Mile IQ.
Okay.
It's a good app, and I think there's other apps out there as well, but people have had good luck. At the end of the year, if you want, you can print it off, a report, you know. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's good. So, you know, people are at different times of their life and places and stuff. And I personally, I have a car for business, and I've got 2 other cars at home, you know, that I can use for personal, but pretty much everywhere I go is also for business. Even when I go to church, somebody asks me a question. You know, so it is, you know, that's just the way some businesses are. So.
Love it. Share that last concept and then we'll close.
Okay, so well, maybe so there's two really quick ones. One is a charity deal where I'm just going to roughly give you an idea that certain instances when you buy something, you can actually donate it at the appraised value. And so we have products that qualify for that. Usually it's a medical kind of thing, that's something's used for medical. And you can buy it and deduct 4 times what you paid for it. So if you spent $25,000, you could deduct $100,000. It isn't for everyone, but it is. So for some people, it works. We always want to make sure that you're saving more than you spend. You know, that's important to us. So that's one for people that are in a little bit higher range. And then we have another thing. We call it the 831B, as that's the IRS code. But it's a way of putting money into, some people call it reinsurance. It's a way of putting money inside, and it's tied to an insurance policy. So it's deducted as insurance, but you have access to it after a year. So you could borrow against it, if you can make a claim against it. And so it's a way of saving substantial amount of money on your taxes and not losing that money. So that's one.
I love that one. I've used it to buy my vehicles. I've used it for projects, I mean, investments and things, and then paid myself, instead of paying the bank's interest, I'm paying myself interest, and there's a tax benefit. And it will depend on your income level and whatnot, but I've been using that for years and have gotten a substantial benefit from it.
Yeah. And so we do, we offer at Solon's, we offer a free 3-year tax review for people. So anybody that's on your call, if they'd like to have let's look over your last 3 years taxes and see how things are looking and see if you could have done something better. We also do year-end reviews for people, and we do charge for that. But just so you know, we're always here and willing to help you strategize and get you the best savings that we can.
Well, I'll say one little piece about that, if it's okay, Natalie. A couple of things. One is I've had people get a review and they've been able to actually look at some of their previous year taxes and actually get them money that they should have gotten that they didn't. I've seen that as a benefit. And also, Kathy, do you guys are just mainly helping anyone in the United States, correct?
Well, we actually do have clients outside of the United States. I know that doTERRA just opened up India. Was it India?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so we do have clients that live in other countries. I'm the one that usually handles that. And so we can help with that as well. There's a lot of different rules in different countries. But if you're tied to the United States, there's some definite benefits for being a US citizen and living abroad. There's some tax savings there. So if you do have someone, we're happy to talk to them and see if there's something we can do to help them. I can't promise, but I do what I can.
And to be clear, I know the Goddards and others have referred lots of people to them, again, because of the benefits that we've received, but just also know that I don't get a dime out of you going to them and using them. I'm passionate about referring people to them because I've seen the benefits. I've seen them save some people's lives almost, right? At least their financial lives. And because they have that mindset of the tax-free wealth. If you haven't gotten that book, get it on Audible. It will help you understand their mindset. And I'm telling you, I've been through, before them, I probably had 5 different tax professionals, and they all have this, what I call the standard mindset, which is fine when you're at a certain really lower level, in that, it's probably all you need. But once you get into higher income, and even at the lower incomes, there's strategies you could be taking advantage of that they may just not want to do. It's outside their comfort zone or even their knowledge. So that's why I love these guys, and I refer people to them, even though I don't get anything out of it, is because I want to see people be served in the way it should be. And I just hate money going to places it shouldn't go.
That's right. I agree.
I think financial peace is so huge, and we can create that if we take the time and energy to set things up right. And it does take that. Kathy, how much is your year-end tax review? Just
We charge $695 for a year-end tax review.
okay.
And again, the
Rich.
3-year review we offer free for
And you're gonna-
to anybody that you're referring to us. We'll be happy to do that.
And you're gonna get that money back, right? And savings. Like
Oh yeah.
that's
yeah.
the beautiful thing here is
I talked to a leader this morning, and they were struggling with some things because they just didn't make informed financial decisions, right? So it's really important that you invest what you need to know what you need to know, and that you're taking care of things. We had a time where we thought somebody was taking care of stuff for us, and things weren't getting taken care of. And so that we had to, repent from, right? We had to make right. And I think it's so important that we take care of every part of our life, right? We take care of our physical health, our emotional health, our mental health, but this is part of taking care of our financial health. And
Yeah.
you can do these simple things to set yourself up for success, but get a tax review, know what's happening. We don't have to be the expert on these things, but we do need to partner with experts. Just like the people that don't partner with you have pitfalls in their health or in their business, right? We get to rely and connect and partner with people that know these things ins and out. I don't want to know what Kathy knows.
Yeah.
I don't want to know the tax code like Kathy knows it, but I'm so grateful that Kathy knows it, so we can partner together and I can have peace that I'm doing the right thing,
Yeah, and one quick thing, I always say this to everyone that I refer, and it's crucial, right? Like, don't just rely on them to just do everything for you and to know everything. The win with utilizing them is communication, right? So I always tell everybody, look, everything is going to be as good as your effective communication. So, because I can't tell you how many times I've referred people and they just haven't answered the communication that's coming from Solence to them, right? They haven't responded to it, or it's a couple and one person's getting the messages and not responding, the other one doesn't know what's going on, whatever, right? So I would say to you this, and on the other side too, if you're not feeling like you're getting effective communication from them, making sure that you're constantly reaching out to them, even if it's to the main line front desk, say, I've been trying to get a hold of. Everything I've seen from effective tax solutions is communication is key and the king in this. And so one of the things that's beautiful is that they've started to, as they've developed their staff over the years, is that they now have more agents, and also each agent, as far as I understand, has an assistant. So every time I communicate, it's not just to who my agent is, but I'm communicating to both the assistant and the agent. And every single time, I never miss that. And if for some reason I'm not getting communication, I get on the phone, call the front office, and figure out where that, what needs to happen. But if you've got to do that, they're magical, but they're not the magical answer if you're not fully involved on a regular basis. And there's different levels of service you can get from them too, and that will depend on your financial situation and whatnot. But you can set up different levels of communication and access based on that as well, which can be super helpful.
Love it. Love it. So whatever you're doing right now, our invitation is to up-level it just a little bit more, right? If you've got a bookkeeper, make sure you've got a tax strategy. If you don't have bookkeeping, let's get some of the most basic things. And if you'll begin with the end in mind, okay, I want financial peace and I'm setting things up to have that and create that, then you can create a whole strategy that will help you be at peace so you can do what you do best. We're so excited that, end of the year, you can be making awesome decisions and be moving your life and your business forward because it opens up options. I see people able to build their business when they've made good financial decisions because they're in a place where they're like, oh, I can help this new builder come on. I can invest in this travel. I can da-da-da. But when we're not prepared, fear can come in, and it's, we're going to stay in we're prepared and we don't need to fear. We've got all kinds of potential to expand our businesses because we're prepared. Thanks so much, Kathy, for your time and energy.
Thank you.
Details in the chat at soulence.com. You can reach Kathy and Chris. Thank you so much. Thanks all of you. We're going to have an amazing November and look forward to seeing many of you at the Blue Prez. No call next month with the Blue Prez happening. If we need to do updates, we'll do it in the WhatsApp channel. So watch for audio or video there of sharing the highlights, and we'll see you after the new year. Ciao.